You walk up to the mirror in the morning, and there it is, that same dark patch on your cheek, stubbornly staring back at you. You applied the expensive vitamin C last night, you layered the strong exfoliants, you did exactly what every magazine told you to do. Yet the pigmentation somehow looks darker today. It is exhausting. The frustrating reality is that all those aggressive brightening treatments are likely the exact reason your spots refuse to fade. You are unintentionally setting off a silent alarm. When you attack pigmentation with harsh chemicals, your skin panics. It creates more pigment just to defend itself. But what if the path to an even, clear complexion was completely different? For a very long time, I treated my dark spots like a stain that needed to be scrubbed away. I used high percentages of acids. I layered active ingredients until my face felt tight and raw. That slight stinging sensation. We often convince ourselves it means the product is actually working. It isn't. That sting is a clear signal of invisible inflammation. Deep beneath the surface, your melanocytes, the cells that manufacture pigment, are highly reactive. When they detect irritation, they go into absolute overdrive. They flood the surrounding tissue with melanin to shield the damaged area. Every single time your face feels squeaky, clean after washing, or tingles from a new serum, you are feeding the hyperpigmentation. You are fueling the exact flaw you are trying so desperately to erase. I had created a daily routine that was essentially a chemical peel in slow motion. Glycolic acid toner in the morning, salicylic acid cleanser, retinol at night. My bathroom cabinet looked like a pharmacy. I believed that shedding the top layer of skin would eventually reveal the flawless canvas underneath. But skin does not function like a snake shedding its coat. By constantly stripping away the natural oils and lipids, I was dismantling my skin barrier brick by brick. The moisture barrier is your protective shield. When it is compromised, hydration escapes and microscopic irritants enter. This creates a permanent state of chronic stress. My skin was not trying to punish me with dark spots, it was simply trying to survive the daily assault I was putting it through. The discoloration was a literal cry for help. The realization hit me on a particularly dry morning when my face felt so tight, it was almost painful to smile. I looked closely at the mirror and saw tiny, flaky patches surrounding the darkest spots. That was the exact moment everything changed. I knew I had to stop attacking my skin and start healing it. If you have ever felt completely overwhelmed trying to decode what your face actually needs, you are definitely not alone. And if you want to discover more gentle shifts that truly transform your complexion, you might want to subscribe. I decided to strip my routine down to the absolute bare minimum. No more burning serums, no more tingling masks. I locked away every single active ingredient I owned. It felt terrifying to abandon the very products I thought were fixing my skin. But what happened over the next few days completely redefined my understanding of how pigmentation actually disappears. The single detail I changed was incredibly simple, yet it went against everything I thought I knew. I swapped all my aggressive brightening serums for a thick, soothing barrier cream. I am talking about rich ceramides, calming panthenol, and deep hydration. Instead of forcing the dark spots to peel off, I gave my face a comforting rest, a literal vacation from the harsh treatments. Within just a few days, the tight redness around my hyperpigmentation began to fade. My face stopped stinging when water touched it. By removing the daily friction, I had finally turned off the panic alarm inside those melanocytes. They no longer felt the urgent need to pump out excess melanin to protect a broken surface. I was no longer fighting my skin. I was just letting it heal. There is a fascinating reason why this quiet approach works so effectively. Dermatologists observe that an intact, healthy moisture barrier naturally regulates pigment production. When the outer layer of your face is strong and deeply hydrated, the cells beneath the surface stay completely calm. The invisible inflammation drops. Once that inflammation drops, the melanocytes simply stop receiving the chemical signals to produce dark spots. It is a biological chain reaction. Evidence indicates that without that constant stress trigger, your skin's natural renewal process quietly takes over. The old pigmented cells slowly rise to the surface and slough off on their own, completely unforced, leaving behind a fresh, even complexion. You do not have to scrub the dark patches away. You just have to give your body the safety it needs to dissolve them. By the end of the first week, the dark spots had not magically vanished, but the canvas around them had entirely transformed. The background of my face looked beautifully plump. It caught the morning light differently. That dull, grayish tone completely disappeared. Entering the second week, I noticed something subtle, but undeniably real. The sharp edges of my hyperpigmentation were starting to blur. The dark patches looked softer, less defined against my cheeks. It was not a sudden erasure, it was a slow, beautiful fading. Because the surrounding tissue was so deeply hydrated and calm, the harsh contrast between my natural tone and the dark spots was minimizing every single morning. The healing was obvious, but there was still one missing piece to truly lock this progress in. I realized that all this profound barrier repair would be completely useless if I let daily light reignite the inflammation. My final adjustment was entirely rethinking my sun protection. I stopped using standard chemical sunscreens that sometimes made my face flush, and switched to a gentle mineral formula packed with iron oxides. Iron oxides are fascinating. They provide an actual physical shield against both UV rays and the blue light from our screens, which evidence indicates can significantly worsen dark spots. I applied it generously every single morning, treating it as the ultimate protective seal over my freshly healed barrier. This daily shield guaranteed that the melanocytes stayed fast asleep. No new triggers, no new pigment. The environment could no longer reach my vulnerable cells. The stage was finally set for the ultimate result. On day 30, the reflection in the mirror was entirely different. The stubborn dark patches that used to dictate my mornings were barely visible shadows. But the most striking change was not just what had disappeared, it was what had returned. My skin had an undeniable luminous quality. That natural radiance people often try to fake with expensive makeup. By focusing entirely on deep healing rather than aggressive stripping, the surface of my face became smooth and resilient enough to reflect light beautifully. The hyperpigmentation faded simply because my skin finally felt safe enough to let the damaged cells go. It was a complete transformation achieved not by doing more, but by doing significantly less. Maintaining this quiet balance is now the only routine that truly matters. Whenever I feel tempted to buy a strong new exfoliating mask, I remember the invisible inflammation that caused the dark spots in the first place. The fundamental truth of an even complexion is just respecting your skin's natural boundaries. I would love to hear your own experiences with hyperpigmentation. Leave a comment below with your thoughts and share any suggestions for what we should examine next. If this perspective helped you rethink your routine, make sure to subscribe. There is so much more we need to uncover together.